At the tip of the North Island, a timeless lighthouse looks out over the spectacular sea views of Cape Reinga. Where the Pacific Ocean and the Tasman Sea meet. Our journey starts at the northernmost point of Cape Maria van Diemen as we head down 90 Mile Beach. A magnificent, unbroken stretch of white sand they call the desert coast. "150 coastal islands all waiting to be explored in the Bay of Islands." Whether sailing, island cruising, fishing, diving, whatever the sport, the bays have them all. In the bays and around the islands, the waters bubble with life. And the occupants are easily drawn to the surface. Some to feed, and some to perform. Something that comes naturally to the dolphin. How do we find our way around? We go on the Fuller's Cream Trip. What all started as a milk run for local isolated farmers is now a tradition. Everyone just comes for the ride. Another trip. Try the quick cat out to Cape Brett, and yes, through the hole in the rock. For those wanting a rush, there's the Exciter, 1600 horsepower of wave-bouncing speed. All around, the deep, crystal-clear water hides some of the world's best game fish. And every catch seems to draw an audience. Northland treasures its pioneering history. Kerry's old stone store and Kemp House. Two of New Zealand's oldest buildings. For centuries, the indigenous Māori people had lived simply and observed with interest the arrival of explorers, whalers and a few pioneers. Into this setting came a growing band of settlers. Here the Treaty of Waitangi was signed between the Māori and the European settlers. An ornately carved Māori meeting house was built alongside as a symbol of the nation's unity and strength. A young nation building on the pioneering of the first migrants to New Zealand, the Māori. New Zealand history started in Russell, first with the Māori, then the European. Pompalia House looked out onto the roughest whaler town in the Pacific. Rebel Chief Honeheke finally flattened the town, leaving only the missionary buildings. The graveyard and bullet holes tell the story. The winterless Northland climate helps produce extended seasons of fruit. Here in Kawakawa is an unusual gift from one of Europe's most famous contemporary architects and artists, Frederik Honterwasser. Though media shy, the artist's work here is public.
The work I do speaks for myself. The work is my child. The work will talk.
And what this work is saying is that it is a bathroom, a toilet, but with the difference a great designer makes. Updated, recycled and new media comprise a design in which nothing is straight.
A straight line is an evil. There's no straight line in nature. Nature and creation is something very beautiful.
For 25 years, the artist made Kawakawa his European winter escape in Northland. Since his parting, this beautiful work of art has become a shrine to Kawakawa's most famous adopted son, the extraordinary artist Frederik Honterwasser. The magnificent kauri tree, unique to New Zealand. Vast forests were plundered for world markets. A few trees remain at Waipua Kauri Forest Sanctuary. Some are 1,200 years old and a modest 50 metres high. The Harbour Bridge welcomes us to Auckland, city of sails. One in every 4 Aucklanders has a boat, and some days it looks like they're all out here on the water at the same time. Whichever the direction, beaches, isolated coastlines and scattered far-off islands continually invite you. With such a spectacular coastline, some just want to be by the sea. Aucklanders can surf on the waters of the Tasman Sea on the west coast, or the Pacific Ocean to the east, only 15 minutes apart by road. A walk along Auckland's west coast is a walk on the wild side. The wildlife of fish and gannets. The wildlife of springs and bush. Enter the snow without getting cold. Enter the water without getting wet at Kelly Tarleton's underwater SeaWorld. Aucklanders enjoy the sea throughout the year. In summer, this is the place to be, in the water or on the beach in the sun. Rangitoto, the floating island. She erupted out of the sea just 800 years ago. Now the dust has settled. Visitors come to see what a young island looks like. Just across the water, Waiheke Island. A home to artisans and those seeking sanctuary from the city. Opening time at the Maritime Museum and wake-up call for the Auckland Viaduct. Starting point for the America's Cup and playground for armchair yachties. A ferry that takes you to Devonport, Auckland's oldest suburb. There are 47 volcanic cones in Auckland and many offer views of the city. Cornwall Park, home to One Tree Hill. City father John Logan Campbell built this monument in honour of the first people of the land, the Māori, and gave the park to the city. Once a One Tree Hill, now a None Tree Hill. Soon to be a One Tree Hill again, we hope. Formerly a Māori fortress, its remains are still evident. The stately Auckland Museum. Centuries of Polynesian, European and natural history joined to display our unique heritage. Auckland, in fact, has the largest population of Polynesians in the world and is a growing centre of cultural diversity. St Stephen's, a haven of rest for our early pioneers, and whose homes are still part of our landscape. Strong pillars of commerce stud the city skyline, only adding to the character of Auckland's buildings. Main Street, Auckland, is Queen Street. Contemporary sculptures welcome visitors from around the world. Central to Auckland's entertainment is Sky Tower. It just seems to attract people. Whether to perch on it, view from it, or jump off it, its presence cannot be ignored. Come nightfall, the magic changes and the entertainment with it. This is New Zealand's most visited attraction. 3,000 visitors per day come to celebrate being in Auckland. Thames, where a gold rush grew a town overnight. And the industry followed. When the gold ran out, so did the diggers. The Coromandel is New Zealand as it was. A wilderness of rugged hills, ridges, bush and gold mines. Locals want the Coromandel to remain just the way it is. A forest park. Things and places here are judged by their character, like the driving creek railway, a journey up a hill to nowhere, just for the fun. The only industry is handcraft and pottery. Gothic arched Cathedral Cove. Or strange hot water beach where at low tide you can dig your own hot pool. Some of the sandy bays and unspoiled coves that are full of surprises along the Coromandel Peninsula. Summer brings a human migration to the holiday home and the beach, whether to Whitianga, Whangamata or the Mount. Rightly called the Bay of Plenty. Mount Maunganui, a landmark for boats, surfers and bathers. And around the landmark and way of life has grown a community. Down the way is Te Puke, kiwi fruit capital of the world, where volcanic soil and the subtropical climate produces fruit that looks almost manufactured. And they're off. And in spite of the distractions, there is a race. But in these parts, the race is to breed the best racehorses in the world, plus make a few dollars on the way. Gentle and elegant Cambridge. famed for its fine thoroughbred stud farms. Ask anybody and they will tell you the best horses come from here. This could be the Thames on race day. Or the Mississippi, where the way to travel is by paddle steamboat. Our journey is on the Waikato River. There are many ways to ride New Zealand's longest and most powerful waterway. Explorers compared her with the great rivers of the world. Beautiful setting for the Karapiro Dam to provide her nuclear-free energy to the nation. The large Waikato region is the richest dairy farmland in the world, which perhaps explains why her farmers are world pioneers in automated dairy technology. These adventurers are preparing to go black water rafting. Where you travel underground rivers on your back in the dark for fun. This is all made possible because of the underground limestone caves at Waitomo. Trickling rainwater has formed caves full of stalactites and stalagmites, still growing, be it only centimetres a century. Also at Waitomo Caves, thousands of glowworms have created an underground galaxy that attracts insects and tourists. In Taranaki, every trail has a story to tell, every view an attraction. Every path a journey, and they will all lead to Mount Taranaki. A pinnacle, an icon to the region. Natural wildlife, restful lakes, and scenic paths tell you are in Pukekura Park. To the discerning, Taranaki is rhododendron heaven. And her flower shows are noted on the national calendar. Her coast stands in line with the Tasman Sea and is renowned for its wild and unrelenting surf. while Mount Taranaki remains unaffected. Wanganui grew up around its magnificent river. A waterway that reaches deep into the interior and was essential for early trading. The indigenous people of New Zealand, the Māori, welcome us to Rotorua. The wero, or challenge, seeks to establish whether we, the visitor, come as friend or foe. Friendship is determined when the dart is picked up. Because of their gift to give life, it is always the woman's voice that is the first to bid us welcome onto the village marae. Māori hospitality is expressed in food, clearly seen if you are ever invited to a hangi, traditional Māori food cooked in the traditional Māori way, and delicious. To the Māori, carving and weaving are not merely handcrafts, but silent orators of a living tradition, kept alive at whakarewarewa. These people are direct descendants of the Te Arawa canoe captained by Tama Tekapua. They, along with 6 other longboat canoes, came to these shores in the Great Migration of 1350 from Hawaii. Each canoe settled a different part of the land they called Aotearoa. Amid Lake Rotorua, Mokoia Island, centre to a legendary love story between warrior Prince Tutanekai and the beautiful Hinemoa, daughter of an opposing tribe. She swam to the island to join her lover and life partner forever. For centuries, long before European settlers and tourists arrived, Māori life continued, comfortable, in a land of upheaval, and a lifestyle among lava. One of the world's most active volcanic zones. Here at Whakarewarewa, the land is literally on the boil. Geysers and hot springs simmer and spit. With the help of a little soap, geysers can be revived, merely displaying that which is continuing perpetually underground. Recent eruptions form these boiling lakes and cliffs. Sparkling but deadly, Champagne Pool deceives the visitor with its beauty. Mount Tarawera, an 8-kilometre scar, is all that is left of an eruption that destroyed a landscape before it created a new one. "150 villages from here died in the rush. Lake Tarawera, an oasis from the uproar that created springs and waterfalls along its path. Neighbouring Lake Rotomahana, a brooding reminder of an eruption that created this landscape only 100 years ago. And Blue Lake, somewhere safe to play in all this upheaval. If you feed them now, you'll be sure of a heavier catch later. Rainbow and brown trout, farmed to ensure abundance. The native New Zealand kiwi bird follows the underground insect life closely, waiting for its next meal to surface. New Zealand's first tourist centre, Aotearoa, enjoyed by locals and visitors alike. St Faith's Anglican Church, where Māori tradition and Christian faith blend. But what has drawn visitors from around the world for over a century? Simply the warm thermal water. Uniquely, the farming industry has been turned into live entertainment. Over the years, this centre has developed plenty of sideshows. Cunning dog versus independent-minded sheep. Reluctant friends, but entertaining foe. Just very frustrating to work with. Steaming bores describe a landscape in thermal uproar and supply an abundant field of energy. Nature's palette at Aotearoa. Emerald terraces and coral-like formations. Jewels of nature formed by hot water algae. Nearby, one of New Zealand's grandest sights. The magnificent Hooker Falls, hurtling water into the Waikato River. For those who want to experience the falls, there's the Hooker Jet. All around, evidence of New Zealand's largest export, forestry timber. A body of water as vast as the mountains are high. Welcome to Lake Taupo. More like a tideless sea than a lake, it is neither, but a volcano which blew its top some 2,000 years ago. Now peaceful, Lake Taupo has been called the world-famous trout factory. Thousands of brown and rainbow trout are caught here each year. Facing the lake, a Māori hamlet called Waihi Village, designed by Māori for Māori. The trout river, Turangi, where each bend and pool has a fishing title like Silly Pool for beginners and Breakfast Pool for fanatics. Meanwhile, the fish hide and wait in what they would call the secret pool. Tongariro National Park, where alpine forest, desert and wilderness offer glimpses of our planet in the making. To some people, you have only to mention the words snow and mountain and they arrive. Tens of thousands of them, testing slopes to the limit. Mount Ruapehu is the ski mountain, surrounded by spectacular scenery and experienced skiers trying to avoid each other. One way of avoiding others is leaping out of a plane at 10,000 feet. Raw exhilaration awaits you, which doesn't stop just because you've landed. First to see the sun in New Zealand and the rest of the world, the East Coast. Separated by forest and mountain from the rest of New Zealand, life on the East Cape has always been a little different. Home of New Zealand's largest native Pahutakawa tree, its stunning flower a highlight of summer. Peaceful landscapes in a haven that has changed little with time, where life is relaxed. Expansive beaches look out over waters that brought explorer Captain Cook. His first landing and the events that followed are captured in time at Wiley Cottage. windswept day in Aotearoa National Park. Much of downtown Napier was rebuilt during the 1930s in the style of Art Deco. Now she is a jewel of that era and attracts visitors from all around the world. Culture in the sun at the Sound Show. This is suburbia for Australian gannets, Cape kidnappers. One of only two mainland nesting places in the southern hemisphere, both in New Zealand. Tamata Peak overlooks the rich, once sacred land of Hawke's Bay, dreamy, lush lowlands of pastoral beauty. Recognised as the fruit bowl of New Zealand, Hawke's Bay produces a wide range of fruit. Fruit of the tree and fruit of the vine. A burgeoning wine industry now competes on an international market with titles unique to New Zealand. But be careful, the wine can have a strange effect on your behaviour.
Dive for the line.
City, country and coast meet together in Wellington. Capital and governing centre, Parliament. Developed from the Westminster system, the debating chamber is where our representatives write and establish law. They sit in the unique building called the Beehive. Early Prime Minister Richard Seton reminds us of our lively political history. Wellington is a city full of personality, with many old colonial government buildings. Homes perched on steep hills that run into the sea. Presenting a fine mix of old and new buildings made to host and entertain. Like Te Papa Museum. As governing city, Wellington has become a national centre for the arts.
I can see my house from here!
seeks to be a venue for culture, combining both old and modern. Of course, culture comes in many different shapes and sizes. She has been called the San Francisco of the South. The cable car only reinforces the image. Catherine Mansfield, New Zealand's most celebrated writer. Her roots are a world away from her life's work in Europe. Sir Len Southwood, driving his 1895 Benz Velo. One of the many treasures at the Southwood Car Museum, like the 1904 Wolseley Tourer, launched in Paris that year. The 1915 Stutz, three-time winner of the US Road and Track Champs, third in the Indy, and much more. The 1954 Maserati 250F, still with a top speed of 300 kilometers an hour. Each vehicle meticulously restored. And the most desirable car in the world, the 1955 Mercedes Gullwing. Welcome to the Cake Tin, a stadium where fanaticism is a ritual. Here Wellington gathers around our national sport, rugby, to dream of winning. Some by playing, others by yelling. One thing is for sure, we'll all go home tired. East of the Aotearoa Range, early morning frost chills our view of the Wairarapa. Grand farmland gouged by fresh streams from the hillside wilderness. In the Wairarapa, farming is a way of life, a culture. Here, beast is matched against beast for size and speed. Farming, competitive farming, is the name of New Zealand's game. Named after the explorer, Cook Strait is the channel between the North and South Islands. Queen Charlotte Sound is the first sight of land to greet you as you travel south on the inter-island ferry, hiding place for a flotilla of yachts that visit these ports each year. The cathedral tower overlooks Nelson, centre to the Marlborough region. Hard work and a benevolent climate helped establish Nelson early, and the discovery of gold brought quick prosperity. Some of the old homesteads in the region show us what their lives were like. Nobel Peace Prize winner Lord Ernest Rutherford, acclaimed worldwide for his work in nuclear fusion, is honoured here as one of Nelson's favourite sons. The region is a major grower of apples. Waters from nearby streams flow underground and bubble to the surface at Pupu Springs. 2 million litres of fresh water a day makes this one of the largest springs in the world. For the tramper, all paths lead to the Abel Tasman National Park, which provides a gateway for us to escape. What better way than into some of the most beautiful and unspoiled wilderness in the world? The bush-clad mountains of Abel Tasman offer both exhilarating and interesting hiking, while the calm coastal waters draw others to explore by boat the sandy nooks and rocky crannies of its coastline, and view this natural wonderland from the same perspective as did the early explorers. Trampers and kayakers are rewarded by the yellow sands and calm waters of Golden Bay. Marlborough produces more than half of New Zealand's total output of wine per year. An annual wine festival celebrates their success, but does little to improve their eating or drinking practices. Marlborough Sounds hosts many mussel farms, cultivating New Zealand's uniquely green mussel. This exquisite tasting delicacy is quick frozen and packed in its half shell, ready for immediate export. Carved through the mountain spine of the South Island, Buller Gorge is our gateway to the Wild West. Strange multi-layered Punakaiki rocks, where layers of contrasting rock weathered differently. It's the nearest thing rocks ever get to having wrinkles. When the sea moves in, the air rushes out, and there she blows. Shantytown echoes the golden days of yesteryear, when the hills were full of flint-like personalities who travelled the world to stake their claim and find their fortune in gold. Some did, and some didn't, and this town was built on those who did. There is still gold in the hills, but the rush has slowed. In fact, in these parts, no one is in a hurry. In Hokitika, centuries before Europeans fought for gold, the Māori fought for greenstone or jade. Harder than most materials, it takes diamonds to cut its surface. Once used for weapons, it is now worked into sculpture and jewellery. New Zealand's rugged and unique west coast. Westland, the wild and wetted strip of green bush between the Tasman Sea and the Southern Alps. The Lake District, where the calm waters of Maporika and Matheson mirror the majestic peaks of the Southern Alps. Like giant pools, they reflect the bush-clad shoreline of an untamed west coast. Watch out for your food. The cheeky kia has a big personality and a big appetite to go with it. The shy wood pigeon just looks on. The best way to see Franz Josef Glacier is by air. Torrents of jagged ice have now become crevasses of up to 30 metres in height. A river of ice carving its own valley at a couple of centimetres a day. Centuries-old ice thaws into the Waiho River. Okarito is home to the majestic kotuku, or white heron, their only breeding ground in New Zealand. Great care is taken not to disturb the shy and rare native. Sea and wind work together to carve out Knight's Point. As the waters deepen and as the road rises rapidly from the west coast up towards snowy peaks. We catch glimpses of the rare beauty found en route through the Haast Pass. A park-like setting introduces us to Christchurch, the Garden City. A city on the flat and a cyclist's paradise. Here, first settlers came from England and set out to establish Christchurch as an English city. The English public school tradition lives on at Christ's College. At the centre of the city is Cathedral Square. landmark and gathering place for people, ideas and friends. A great place to relax. City Common, Hagley Park. A timeless ride around the park takes us past fragrant flower beds and reminds us of a 19th century England. Alongside, the Avon River meanders through the town, decorated by punts floating by at a leisurely pace. Now what could be more English than that? The Botanic Gardens, where the style is formal and the flowers are traditional. In recent years, Christchurch has served as the setting-off point and supply base for expeditions to the Antarctic. This story is told at the International Antarctic Centre. A ride in the gondola up Mount Cavendish is rewarded by panoramic views of the city and plains. Cradled within the steep hills of Banks Peninsula below lies the port of Lyttelton. Amid a green protected cove sits the Gaelic-flavoured village of Aotearoa. One of the earliest settlements in the South Island was founded by the French, and she will never let you forget. Setting out from Christchurch, heading for Arthur's Pass and the west coast, is the Transalpine Express. At a mesmerising pace, the experience offers one of the most spectacular train rides in the world. Travelling through wild alpine country to view early pioneering townships on a route that was literally carved out by the bare hands of our early settlers. Our journey from coast to coast through the Southern Alps is complete. Don't let the pastoral beauty of the surrounding countryside deceive you. We are heading to Kaikoura and its rugged coastline. A township built around the sea. Man and mammal share in the resources of this unique location. Over half the world's albatross population live in New Zealand waters. Maturing birds will take to the wing from here to cover sometimes over 1,000 miles a day. Though solitary birds, their love of squid makes them partial to fishing boat waste and vulnerable to marine accidents. Current figures place them on a 10-year path to extinction. The most sociable dusky dolphins regularly gather here in pods from 100 to 800 members. They come of their own free will, but on their own terms. The encounters are close, but not tame. Born exhibitionists, they are the sea's most capable acrobat. Because of the unusual depth just offshore, the grand master of the sea, the whale, comes to feed and bask. The only place in the world where they can be seen all year round. Catching the early morning light to cross the broad and fertile Canterbury Plains, mountain-born rivers refresh the land as they weave their way to the coast. The freshly dusted Southern Alps announce the new season. And invite fanatics to a new season of downhill mayhem. On horseback is a great way to see the Mackenzie country, a vast hidden flatland running between the mountains. The climate is dry and harsh, but sheep thrive in the high country. Sheep have been the economy here ever since the European arrived, and shearing them is part of our national tradition. Honoured and remembered by this statue at Tekapo, the sheepdog is much responsible for New Zealand's success as a sheep breeding country. In the high country, sheep must run free to get feed. The only way they can be gathered is by the trusty border collie. The Church of the Good Shepherd commemorates the faith of the early settlers and aligns the beauty of its countryside to its creator. From this wild and remote region comes the ability to live in the sophisticated 21st century, as hydropower is sent across the country at about the speed of light. But the crystal clear day draws us inland to a greater beauty, starting with the milky blue waters of Lake Pukaki. This is only the beginning as we start our pilgrimage to the magnificent Southern Alps. New Zealand's highest peak, Mount Cook, brings thousands each year to the national park. World-famous hotel The Hermitage hosts them. But it is the beauty that satisfies and draws them back again year after year. A place as vast as this has more beauty than just a walk reveals. Much of her splendour is hidden and can only be seen from the air. Tasman Glacier provides a landing place where we can touch the beauty of one of the world's highest rooftops. The impact of the experience is written on the faces of its visitors. Heli skiers are dropped at the summit to experience the wonder of a 17-kilometre downhill slide in perfect conditions. It's a journey they'll never forget. If Christchurch were England, then Dunedin would be Scotland. Rightly, she has been named the Edinburgh of the South. In her centre, a proud statue of who else but Robbie Burns, the Scottish poet. St Paul's, the city's Anglican cathedral. Dunedin's early architects wanted to make every building interesting, no matter how functional its purpose. Larnac Castle has become a monument to the period. Otago University, learning centre to students from around the world. Otago Boys High School is a landmark. And the law courts, a symbol of justice. The world's largest seabird, the royal albatross, has formed a colony at Aotearoa Head. The only place you can watch them nesting at close quarters. A solitary yellow-eyed penguin returns from a day in the ocean. With mouths to feed at home, there is little time for anything else. The discovery of a pure white granular limestone here in Oamaru indelibly set her destiny in stone. A riddle of nature, the giant marbles called the Moiraki boulders. Scattered white sheep on green hills. Now that's New Zealand. Waipati Beach takes us to Cathedral Cove. Seams of coal gleam darkly from the walls. Early whalers called these the Nuggets, and the name stuck, Nugget Point on the Catlins coast. Sparkling jewel hidden by native bush. Purakanui Falls. White water on black rock. One of the many surprises in Catlins Forest Park. Our southernmost point, Bluff. Where the race is on to be first to the restaurants with the new season's oysters. Moving inland to central Otago, where the wilderness takes on a colour of its own. When Alexandra built its bridge over the Clyde, it became the dominant town of central Otago. The fruits and wine of success followed. Once a fertile valley, now it is Lake Dunstan, formed by the Clyde Dam, 1 million cubic metres of concrete. Clyde, with historic charm still intact. Rugged terrain, still a good ride here in central Otago. Welcome to Omarama. In a field nestled along the Southern Alps, where the wind pattern seems to suck you into the atmosphere, is an international centre for serious gliders. Cloudless skies, crystal clear air, and views from over 1,500 metres that are spectacular. Warbirds over Wanaka International Air Show is now firmly established as one of the best warbird air shows in the world. Ancient machines, lovingly restored, are not just displayed but put through their paces. Historic scenes come alive as timeless warbirds are seen flying the way they were meant to be flown. For 3 days over Easter every other year, every even-numbered year, more than 100,000 enthusiasts from around the world flock to the alpine town of Wanaka to witness the event. An exhilarated crowd is once again inspired by the raw energy demonstrated by these warbirds from history. Finally comes the time to put the toys back into storage for another 2 years, when the dream will be revived again. Gravity Cross comes to nearby Cardrona, where they do their own form of flying. Arrowtown was built on gold fever. Her quaint beauty belies her wild past and the stark hardship endured in the hope of instant fortune by her settlers. Late on the scene were the Chinese migrants. Downtrodden by many, their rustic homes reveal their rugged existence. In those days, sluicing was used as an effective way of searching for that elusive mineral, gold. Nowadays, it's the lifestyle that's the attraction. A rowboat describes the scenic route across Lake Hayes. In a region where classic New Zealand scenes are everywhere. The beautiful Queenstown, alpine village of the south. Stop-off point for thrill seekers, tourists and adventurers. Lady of the Lake, the SS Earnslaw, has been taking visitors across these waters for over 80 years. Stopping at Walter Peak Station, where people's reaction to farmland animals close up is still the same. And farm animals' reactions to people are still the same. On the return journey, our passengers are definitely more jubilant. It must be that fresh farm air. A ride around the lake and her waters comes in many forms. The Remarkables, an aptly named range of mountains that feature no matter where you look. After we have explored the surrounds, it is time for a ride on the Skyline gondola, followed by an inspiring view from the top. Here, ways to experience the scenery abound. For those who want to go where no one else has gone before, flying off a cliff is maybe for them. Bungee jumping is as easy as falling off a log, except that the log is a 43-metre high span bridge. This kind of fun may be harder than it looks. But that was only the ground floor. Now this is the real bungee.
At 134 metres, the Nevis High Wire Bungee.
Another New Zealand invention, the jet boat ride. Or is it flying down the Shotover River? An inflatable raft and a willing crew is all you need for the ride of your life on these waters. Some of the best skiing in the world is found in the virgin powder snow of Coronet Peak, all in and around Queenstown. Carved out of solid granite. Deep below Lake Manapori, West Arm Power Station. Producing 750,000 kilowatts of power. Only a small float plane can take us into the untouched regions and unsurpassed beauty of Fiordland. And island within a lake, within an island, within a lake. Coves, sounds, peaks and islands. This is the promise of Fiordland. Undisturbed fjords offer private fishing trips and an experience of a lifetime. The magnificent wapiti and wild red deer roam the hills. A short launch trip will take this bunch of hardy trampers to the start of a 3-day trek considered to be one of the most spectacular in the world, the Milford Track. Through tall native forest, across glacial valleys and along breathtaking mountain ranges. En route by road, watch out for the kia. They'll want to search you for food. A deeply gouged glacial valley, now filled by the sea. Milford Sound is a fjord. Offering a 10-mile launch trip past mountain peaks, hanging valleys, waterfalls, and wildlife. A beauty that goes deep beneath the surface, revealed only to the hardy diver. This showcase of nature inextricably draws its visitors, whether by water or by land, to its centrepiece. Crowning jewel to the Milford Sounds experience is one of New Zealand's most famous landmarks, Mitre Peak. Whatever her mood, this majestic mountain reigns over the landscape with a lofty beauty, worthy of the reputation to be one of the most beautiful places on earth.